Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And to all my brothers out here preaching this truth to you, I say Shalom. This is Amatazar from the Chicago camp, coming back at you again with another lesson entitled The Nations Are Mad. So, in this particular lesson, I'm just going to spotlight some craziness when it comes to Babylon. Now, I've seen this in person myself, where here in Babylon, you'll go to an interview session. All right, so you have an applicant. Let's just say his name is Brian. All right, so Brian comes to the hiring session or the interview, dressed nicely, looks you square in the eye, shakes your hand firmly, all right, and begins to sell himself, right? And you believe that this person is going to be an asset. So you hire him, all right? Then he comes in, and then after he gets protection, all right, by his union, he changes to Brielle. All right, so this happens all the time in Babylon, and it's been happening more and more, all right? Because years ago, 30 years ago, this so-called identification, all right, that these people identify as used to be considered a mental illness. Now, why it's not anymore, I have no idea. Well, I do. This is part of the agenda. But but yeah, this is not uncommon, right? So in this video, we're gonna see this in action, right? So now you got Esau Edom complaining about the life and the world that he set up. Okay, so let's watch, and then I'll come back with the scriptures.
I I know somebody who has a good friend who runs a corporation. He hired a young woman, and the young woman was normal, whatever, no problems in the interview. She was kind of a star. She shows up the first day and says, "I identify as a tiger." He's like, "What?" She's got to wear the little ears and the little tiger tail, and everyone needs to be respectful of her identity as a tiger. Now, this is not gender identity, and I would say as a lawyer, you as an employer do not need to recognize this or do anything other than tell her, put on your normal clothes or you're fired. This is not a protected class. But we're so crazy about bending over backwards to support this nonsense. We're letting kids do that. Like, it's becoming bigoted to say no to that. I
Okay. So she says she has a friend, all right, that has a company, right? And the employee came to work identifying as a tiger. Okay, well, you know what? I mean, I really don't see what's the difference. I mean, you got a man identifying as a woman or a woman identifying as a man. That's crazy too. But this is Jeremiah 51 and 7. It says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Okay. All right. So here in Babylon, right, nothing is sacred. Okay. So, hey, you can make love to a tree if you want to. Marry a tree. All right, you got men with men, women with women. Now you have men identifying as women and women identifying as tigers. Let's go to Revelation 18. Revelation 18. And it reads, And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. So Babylon is going to be destroyed, all right? And Babylon is going to be um, the Lord's sacrifice, all right? All right, for the sins of these people, these all of their sins and abominations, all right? They got to pay for all of that. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am not widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh power, who judgeth her. Salakia. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when when they shall see the smoke of her burning. All right. So Babylon the Great is going to be judged, and all of the wine of her fornication and all of her philosophies and do as thou wilt, and you do whatever you want to do, and you make money any kind of way you want to make money. All of that is going to come back on her. All right, because as we see, all of his laws that Esau Edom right, all right, come back to haunt him. This is Psalms 10:5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Okay? Now, and if I was to start up, I'm just to start up, I'm gonna hit that 3 and 4. It says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous, whom Yahweh abhorreth. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. Okay, so if I was to start up, that's where we start. Okay, and then his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. See, the Lord's judgments is out of Esau's sight. Okay, he doesn't he doesn't he doesn't he doesn't recognize the Lord's judgments. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, and under his tongue is mischief and vanity. All right, so you see the same Esau, Edom, the same people complaining because now they're thinking, oh, it's ridiculous. This woman wants to identify as a tiger. But you didn't think it was ridiculous when she wanted to identify as a man. And you didn't think it was ridiculous when a man wants to identify as the woman. Well, what's wrong with them identifying as a tiger or anything else that they're not? All right. And lastly, let's go and see what Job has to say about Esau Edom. Job 30. Man, I can't push the buttons. Job 30:8. Well, actually, let's start at 1. So I'll start at 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows for by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Okay? I pray that this lesson has been edifying. Until the next one, Shalom.